happening, everybody? Greetings and welcome to this special throwback episode of the Never Say Never WrestleCast. I'm your ubiquitous host, Big Dame. Ladies and gentlemen, Clash at the Castle 2024 is only hours away, taking place in Glasgow, Scotland. And I figured, in order to get you guys ready for the show, I think it's time that we take a little trip back to the past. 2022, the very first Clash at the Castle. Now, initially, I was going to be doing this as a double review, which was Clash at the Castle 2022 and AEW All Out 2022, the infamous All Out 2022, but I didn't put it up in time. But considering that we are at the second Clash, I figured now's a better time as any in order to take you back to this never before posted throwback review of Clash at the Castle 2022, taking place in Cardiff, Wales. Enjoy.
It's time to go back in time.
WWE brought you its very first premium live event in over 30 years in the United Kingdom with Clash at the Castle taking place at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff, Wales. Now, I just want to say from the offset, the energy and vibe of the UK crowd was absolutely infectious. You know, it was such a great night. This is what they've been wanting for the last 30 years, since SummerSlam 1992. The famous SummerSlam where Bret Hart took on the British Bulldog for the Intercontinental Championship. Certainly one of the greatest matches of all time. Now here we are, 30 years later. Yes, there's been many pay-per-view events that went on in the UK since then, such as One Night Only and Rebellion and Insurrection, but never to the scale of actually having a stadium show. SummerSlam 92 was the last stadium show they did in the United Kingdom. Well, here we are, 30 years later, we get Clash at the Castle in Cardiff, Wales, taking place on my birthday, September 3rd, 2022. The way the setup is absolutely beautiful. They made the video screen like a castle. It's right above the ring. You know, the setup, the way things are set up, it looks absolutely beautiful. You know, WWE and their production team are second to none when it comes to production, and they really went, pardon the pun, all out for this event. Now, I didn't get to watch the pre-show. There was only one match that took place on the pre-show. That was Madcap Moss and the Street Profits going up against Austin Theory and the Alpha Academy. Yes, Theory is not just Theory anymore. Now he's once again known as Austin Theory. That's right. He got his first name back. Triple H already undoing the type of stupid shit his father-in-law has done. Just like Riddle is now once again Matt Riddle. And I definitely want to get to his and Seth Rollins' match in a moment. But all you need to know, nothing really eventful happened during this match. All you need to know is Madcap Moss and the Street Profits won after Montez Ford pinned Chad Gable. So Moss and the Street Profits won the pre-show match. So then we get to the main card. You got Damage Control, Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky going up against Bianca Belair, the Raw Women's Champion, along with Alexa Bliss and Asuka. Now, what my main takeaways from this match, the UK crowd, they're a sing-songy bunch. You know, they like to sing their chants much rather than just do basic chants. And, you know, they kept singing, "Hey, Bayley, ooh, ah." Now, that was cute when that happened in NXT TakeOver in London back in, I believe it was 2015. when I believe it was Bayley going against Nia Jax. Correct me if I'm wrong, if that's not the match that took place. But yeah, it was fun when, they chanted at Bayley when she was still the sweet, lovable, headband, ponytail wearing Bayley. But now Bayley's a full-on heel. Been that way even before she left. She really doesn't need you guys serenading her with song. And she pretty much let that be known throughout the match. After getting tagged in, she tags right back out. And pretty much going, shut up. Man, that was funny. Pretty much all you need to know about this match is it was really back and forth. And, it was also good to see a nice face-off between the two Joshis. Talking about Asuka and Io. Definitely want to see a match between them down the line. But in the end, Damage Control proved that they were not to be messed with. And the closing moments of the match was a lot of back and forth. Bayley pins Bianca after Io hits the moonsault on Bianca. 1, 2, 3. Your winners are Damage Control. Match number 2. Oh, this is a good match right here. The Intercontinental Championship. Before that match, they recapped what I was just talking about with SummerSlam 92. Hitman versus Bulldog. They acknowledged the family of British Bulldog being in attendance, as well as the one and only Bret the Hitman Hart. That's right. The Hall of Famer himself was in attendance at Clash at the Castle to celebrate this momentous occasion. So now we got this Intercontinental Championship match between Sheamus and Gunther, aka Walter. Before we get to the match, we ended up getting a reunion of Imperium. I guess the former Fabian Eichner, now going by Giovanni, I can't remember his last name, reunited with the former Marcel Vartel, now known as Ludwig Kaiser. So that was a cool moment. Imperium is back in full force. They replayed the little spot they did on SmackDown where Imperium and Brawling Brutes going at each other. Because, Sheamus also had Butch, Pete Dunne, along with Rich Holland in his corner. So it was pretty much Imperium and Brawling Brutes going back and forth. Gunther and Sheamus were just standing in the ring, staring at each other. And then before long, they get into it. It was chops aplenty. You could already see that the chops and the welts in Sheamus's pasty white skin, that those chops his chest was looking like hamburger meat. And Gunther's was to a certain degree too. It was just a nice little back and forth, very brutal, very hard hitting. It was just a straight up brawl, man, and I loved every second of it. The end came when Gunther hits a power bomb on Sheamus, gets a near fall, then stomps on the lower back of Sheamus. Sheamus then sends Gunther over to the top rope, hit the Celtic cross on Gunther, got another near fall. He then tried to go for the brogue kick, but then his back ends up giving out. That's when Gunther hits another power bomb on Sheamus, then hits a lariat, hits the pin. Your winner and still Intercontinental Champion, Gunther. And after the match, Sheamus, put on a hard-hitting performance, and the crowd loved every second of it. He pretty much was receiving all sorts of adulation from the UK crowd, man. It was a great moment. Probably one of the best matches. This will definitely go down as one of Sheamus's best matches. Much respect to Sheamus. He been putting in his work. He been putting in his time, and that was a great performance. So, hats off to Sheamus. Next up, we have for the SmackDown Women's Championship, Liv Morgan defending the championship against Shayna Baszler. I like how they pretty much reset it a lot of Shayna Baszler's presentation, pretty much trying to take things back to how she was in NXT. She was dominant throughout most of the match, and they tried to go blow for blow. The end came when Liv tried to hit a sunset flip after getting a gut-wrench suplex and a knee to the face from Shayna. Liv then hits a sunset flip powerbomb on Shayna. Then Shayna locks an armbar, but Liv was able to reach the bottom rope. Liv hits a code breaker, followed by the Oblivion to score the pin. Your winner and still SmackDown Women's Champion, Liv Morgan. Next up, we have Rey Mysterio and Edge tag teaming for the first time in many years, going up against the Judgment Day, comprised of Damian Priest and Finn Balor. Of course, Dominic Mysterio was in Rey and Edge's corner. For the last few weeks, Dominic would become damn near dominated by Rhea Ripley. From the Who's Your Poppy shirt at Rey's 20th anniversary celebration to her just having hit her wicked way with Dominic throughout the weeks. It made for all sorts of funny ass memes on the internet. So it was only a matter. You knew somewhere down the line that Dominic was going to end up turning heel. Okay. But and after Dominic pretty much helped Edge and Rey Mysterio get the win by tripping up Finn Balor, Rey hits the 619 and then Edge hits the spear. 1, 2, 3, your winners, Rey Mysterio and Edge. And I must say, ladies and gentlemen, another few key moments of the matchup. The crowd was singing Edge's theme song when he made his entrance. He was in a lucha mask, pretty much in solidarity with Rey. And he even did his own little 619, although Corey Graves said it was like a 519. But yeah, he still hit it. He still hit it. It was a great match. It was a very good match. But of course, the aftermath, post-match, Dominic Mysterio low blows Edge, and Edge did a great sell job. The facial expression as he was going down to the mat after being kicked by Dominic, like, Dom, how could you? Rey was trying to talk some sense into his boy, but then Rey ends up getting clotheslined by his own son. And then the Judgment Day was just laughing as Dominic was going, ripping off the shirt, pretty much saying, you know what, I'm done with this shit. You would have thought Rey Mysterio would have learned from now to duck whenever somebody was going to clothesline him, just like Eddie Guerrero did to him in 2005, just like Batista did to him the next year or two. I thought you was my friend. I still remember that point. I still remember that time. But yeah, it's official. Dominic Mysterio is now a heel, and we'll see if he ends up with his mommy, Rhea Ripley, tomorrow night on Raw and ends up joining the Judgment Day. Then we get to a very heated battle indeed. Seth freaking Rollins versus Matt Riddle. I definitely enjoyed the build up with this match between Rollins and Riddle. They were just going at each other. They had supposed cell phone footage of them fighting in the parking lot, and then that whole little backstage, interview where they were in separate rooms. It was very personal. Very personal. You knew this was going to be a great match. Riddle had to ditch the comedy shit a little bit and show that he was serious. Needless to say, it was a great match, man. It was such a great match. Because the story of the match was Seth Rollins got inside Riddle's head, and Riddle didn't know how to really control himself. Of course, Riddle was doing some of Randy Orton's offense, like the draping DDT. I don't think he attempted to do an RKO out of nowhere, but now, at one point in the match, Riddle hits a a bro to sleep, which of course is his own version of the go to sleep, popularized by Kenta and CM Punk, of course. Yeah, Riddle, he pretty much let his emotions get the best of him. And Seth Rollins capitalized on that. He attempted to use a chair. Rollins moved out the way. Rollins gives him the curb stomp as he made his way, as Riddle was coming back into the ring. Rollins hit him with the stomp. Then, from the second rope, Rollins hits another stomp. 1, 2, 3, your winner, Seth Rollins. So then it was time for the main event. The undisputed WWE Universal Championship. The head of the table, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, defending his title against Drew McIntyre. Now, before that match, we saw a nice little video package set to Drew's first WWE entrance theme, Broken Dreams. It definitely, conjured up, early 2010s Drew McIntyre, and his ascent from that point up until now. It was very cool to hear that song once again. Little fan service moment. And it all roles was looking like Drew was about to win at least one of those titles off of Roman. And, it was the typical Roman Reigns match. A lot of methodical stuff. I'm not gonna hold you. It was a great match. Then things got interesting when Drew McIntyre tried to claymore Roman. He claymores him into the referee. Then, next thing you know, you hear A-Town down. Austin Theory, the Money in the Bank holder, runs down with another referee. He tries to cash in, but then out of nowhere, Tyson Fury knocks him the fuck out. And Theory was unable to cash in. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention Tyson Fury was there throughout the night, pretty much in support of Drew McIntyre, even though he also had some backstage talks with Roman Reigns. So pretty much he was just there to see a good fight, Now the last time we seen Tyson Fury was back at Crown Jewel 2 years ago in Saudi Arabia when he went up against Braun Strowman. Now I remember that because he came out to the Osley Brothers "It's Your Thing." I'm like, how much money did WWE pay in order to have that song play? It was the wildest shit. So anyway, Tyson Fury knocked out Austin Theory, and then Roman attempts to use a chair on Drew. Drew hits another claymore to try to secure a victory. I mean, by this point in the match, both men were spent. They kept going with series of strikes. Boom, boom, boom. Drew then hits Roman with a spear and a claymore. Drew goes for the pin, but then a mystery man pulls the referee out the ring. Who would that mystery man be? None other than Solo Sikoa, the younger brother of Jimmy and Jay Uso. So yes, the third Uso has now officially become a member of the bloodline. So Solo Sikoa pulls the ref out of the ring. That gives Roman the time needed in order to hit his patented spear on Drew. 1, 2, 3, and still your undisputed WWE Universal Champion, Roman Reigns. A lot of people in the UK crowd were upset that their boy didn't win. Very upset. You really thought it was. I mean, a lot of people are sick of Roman Reigns and his reign of terror, so to speak. Even though they always like to make fun of Triple H's reign of terror in early 2000s Raw. But yeah. Roman's still the champ, man. He's going to hold on to that title at least until WrestleMania, man. We either going to get The Rock or we're going to get Cody Rhodes winning it all. So, I mean, it's going to be one of those two scenarios. That's the only way Roman's losing those titles. So after the match, now I mean, that was a 30-minute match. It was a great main event. Definitely take my cap off to both guys. But you already knew Roman was going to keep those titles. So anyway, Tyson Fury after the match gets in the ring, shake Roman's hand, and then he grabs a mic. He tells Drew McIntyre that he should be proud of himself for that fight. And all this action kind of reminds him of a song. And he breaks out into the first couple minutes of Don McLean's American Pie. And Drew and the whole crowd was singing along. Drew says that his island, Roman wants to talk the island of relevancy. Well, his islands didn't let him down because they were loud. His island didn't let him down because they were loud and passionate. He said that him and Tyson never give up, and he will get his hands on the undisputed Universal title somewhere down the line. He tries to get Tyson to sing Sweet Caroline, and then he ends up breaking into Oasis's Don't Look Back in Anger. So, he pretty much said, even though I lost, let's party, everybody. It was such a weird thing. For one thing, now this is usually this type of stuff would usually happen when the cameras are off, when they are off air on pay-per-view, and it'd be something for the live audience to go home with. But for whatever reason, WWE decided to air it as a part of the pay-per-view, and it just seemingly looked awkward, by leaving that shit in there, by airing that. I don't know what WWE was thinking doing that, and it kind of made for a little awkward moment. I mean, ideally, you should have ended the show. You should have had the copyright graphic at the bottom of the screen you usually see to close out the show when Roman and Solo were going up the ramp, But whatever, it is what it is. It was still a fun show. Definitely, I watched it from start to end. Definitely one of the best WWE pay-per-view / premium live events of the entire year. They're going to have to do this again. They're going to run this back within the next year. So the Triple H era is in full swing, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm all here for it, man. So hats off to WWE for providing a great show in Cardiff, Wales.
And now, back to the second time.
Ooh-wee. What a trip, y'all. That was a look back at the very first Clash at the Castle almost 2 years ago. And yes, indeed, we are running it back, this time in Glasgow, Scotland, in the OVO Hydro. A lot has went down since 2022. Bianca Belair is still going strong, this time in a phenomenal tag team with Jade Cargill. They are the women's tag team champions. Asuka has since become a part of Damage Control. Bayley's out, of course. She had that match with Io at WrestleMania. Now Asuka's out injured. We hope to see her back real soon. As for Little Miss Alexa Bliss, well, let's just say you're going to end up seeing her along with Bo Dallas as Uncle Howdy, Eric Rowan, Dexter Lumis, Nikki Cross, Joe Gacy, the new Wyatt Six. They've been doing all that cryptic QR code stuff throughout the many weeks, and the countdown clock that came off the last QR code, that's set to expire this Monday on Raw. So perhaps we'll be able to finally get the full reveal of the Wyatt Six, whatever they're going to call it. Of course, it's a tribute to the late, great Bray Wyatt. We'll see if they'll finally reveal themselves this Monday. Sheamus and Gunther had that classic match, I believe. Not that it really matters, but Mark-ass Meltzer actually gave it 5 stars. Of course, Sheamus just came back into WWE not too long ago. We'll see where his direction goes. I believe he actually was in a little bit of a feud with Imperium's Ludwig Kaiser. So it's going to be real interesting to see how that rivalry goes. And speaking of Imperium, Gunther went on to become the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time with a devilish 666-day title reign. Of course, he is now King of the Ring, and I want to make one sort of correction. I said that Gunther perhaps would challenge for the world title at Bash in Berlin. I'm overlooking the fact that him winning King of the Ring means he's earned his title shot at SummerSlam. So Gunther will challenge at SummerSlam, whoever the world champion may be. Shayna Baszler and Liv Morgan, they had their match. Of course, Shayna is going to be part of that triple threat tag team match along with Zoe Stark, taking on Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, along with Jade and Bianca, the defending champs. As for Liv, we'll get back to her in a second. Ray and Edge taking on Judgment Day. We all know Edge, or rather Adam Copeland, is now in AEW. Unfortunately, he's now out injured, making that stupid decision to try to do a spot off the top of the barbed wire steel cage and end up breaking his foot. So now the TNT title is vacated, and that's going to be determined at Forbidden Door. I think we all know who's going to end up winning that damn title and whatever. Of course, this would be the match. This would be the moment Dom decides to go dirty, turning his back on Ray and Edge, and officially joining Judgment Day to be with his mommy, Rhea Ripley. But of course, now Rhea's out injured. And since then, Liv got the title. She's now the women's world champion. And now she's looking to take Rhea's place in the life of Dom. Seth Rollins, Matt Riddle. Of course, Seth is now out injured. I think their match was actually better than their Extreme Rules match in the Fight Pit. All that got overshadowed by the return, of course, of the late Bray Wyatt. Of course, like I said, Rollins is out injured now. Matt Riddle is out of a job in WWE, at least. He's been in New Japan. He was, I believe, a former New Japan World Champion. He has since made it to MLW. Then, of course, you had the main event of Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns. If you've been following WWE since WrestleMania, you know that Roman Reigns taking some time off. But in his place is the Tribal Chief, none other than Solo Sikoa, who, of course, made his debut, his main roster debut, at the original Clash at the Castle. Of course, we already know the deal with Solo and the New Bloodline, Tama Tonga Loa, and soon their brother Hikuleo, who is now going by a new name. I believe it's Tala Tonga. The play off of his actual middle name being Taller, because he's the taller of the brothers. Either we'll see him at Clash, see him next week on SmackDown, but either way, he's coming. As far as Drew, well, he's going to do his second Clash at the Castle main event, this time against Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship. Hopefully for Drew, it will be a much better outcome than it was in 2022. Who knows? Maybe CM Punk gets involved. Maybe there'll be a lot more shenanigans on behalf of Judgment Day. We'll just have to wait and see how it goes, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't already, make sure to check out the previews and predictions that I did with my man, Crisco. I posted it earlier today on YouTube and last night through various podcast platforms. So make sure you check it out if you haven't already. Folks, Clash at the Castle looks to be another lit event, like we saw how it was with the kickoff show where we had Cody straight up crowd surfing, man. That's crazy. And then they just gave Drew McIntyre a hero's welcome. And then SmackDown, this is posted after SmackDown took place. It took place earlier in the day for us here in the U.S., but of course it came on tonight on Fox. If that is any indication, based on what you've seen on SmackDown tonight, yeah, it's going to be lit. So can't wait to see it. Will it be just as lit as France? Well, I guess there's only one way to find out, and that's to check out Clash at the Castle at 2 p.m. Eastern, not 1 p.m. Eastern. That's 1 p.m. for us here in the Central Time Zone. 2 p.m. Eastern, streaming on Peacock. I'm definitely going to have a review for you guys, so make sure you stay tuned to the Never Say Never WrestleCast. If you want me to do any more flashback, throwback episodes, perhaps some stuff that not necessarily recorded, but I can record for you, whatever classic event, make sure you hit me up at RealBigDame314 on Instagram and TikTok, or at NSN WrestleCast. Take your suggestions and we'll, make some classic reviews. Whatever you got for me, I'm all ears. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking this trip down memory lane back to 2022. And until the next episode, it's your boy Big Dame. This is the Never Say Never WrestleCast, and I am OUT. Peace.